You can't always see mold, but your body can certainly feel it. And if you've been told that your labs are normal, but you still feel foggy or exhausted and can't figure out why, mold might be hijacking your energy at the cellular level. Here's what most people miss. Mold isn't just an allergy or a smell in the bathroom. Certain mold toxins can actually hijack your mitochondria, the engines that literally create your cellular energy. So even if your blood work looks fine, you might be running on empty. What's really happening is biochemical. Mold toxins create mitochondrial stress, and conventional labs don't test for this. I'm Dr. Kenny, root cause health detective and IFM certified functional medicine practitioner. I'm certified in mold illness as well, and I see this all the time in humid states like Florida and Texas, where one person's completely fine in the house, but another is beyond exhausted. That's because mold doesn't affect everyone equally. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the chain reaction, how mold disrupts your mitochondria and creates that battery won't charge feeling, and what tests actually help to clarify the picture so that you're not chasing supplements and expensive protocols. And if you've tried every clean diet, every supplement, and still feel drained and are looking for root cause answers, go ahead and hit that like button. It'll signal to me that you want more content just like this, because it's not in your head. Your cells may literally be out of power at that level. So let's set the foundation with two terms. Mycotoxins are secondary metabolites, or basically the toxic byproducts that certain molds release into the air or whatever surface they're in contact with. Think of them as chemical weapons, if you will, that the mold uses to protect its territory and claim its resources. Your mitochondria are the little energy factories that are inside your cells. They basically take oxygen and certain nutrients and turn them into ATP, which is our energy currency. Research shows that when mycotoxins enter your system, they directly interfere with how your mitochondria make ATP. That's why you may feel exhausted, even when you've slept enough, for instance. The engines are simply stalling at the chemical level. Now, this is where the ripple effect gets systemic. When mycotoxins stress out your mitochondria, your immune system senses danger. Mast cells, which are part of your innate immune system, they release histamine and other pro-inflammatory agents. That's where some people experience the flushing or the hives or the allergies or anxiety and even food sensitivities to foods they used to tolerate. At the same time, your gut barrier can weaken because of this inflammation that increases the permeability at the intestinal level, what we call commonly as leaky gut. Now, you've got three problems that are just compounding on top of each other: an energy debt from sluggish mitochondria, histamine chaos from mast cell activation, and gut inflammation driving things like the food sensitivities and other GI or non-GI symptoms. This triad is what I see in practice all the time when mold is at the top of the dominoes. A study done recently in 2024 looked at residential dampness and mold exposure scores. Researchers found a clear link between damp indoor environments and symptoms like anxiety and chronic fatigue. What this means for you is that if your home environment has hidden moisture or mold, it's not just affecting your lungs or your allergies. It's affecting your mood, your energy, and your nervous system on a wider scale. Your body is detecting it as a threat constantly, even though your eyes may not be on red alert yet. If you're appreciating this information so far, I've put together a short research summary of some of the studies that I've used in this video. It includes the citations and short, digestible paragraphs of what the research means, so you can refer to it or bring it to your next doctor's visit anytime. Just check out the link in the description or in the pinned comment below. So now that we've talked about some of the underbellies of what happens with mold toxicity, let's talk testing. Here's the hierarchy that I generally use. There's no black and whites here. First, test your environment before you test your body. Use a home inspection kit, a humidity meter. There's a lot of different ways to do this, even through formal organizations that test for mold in the home. It's important to not be guessing and just to consider your own chemistry because you can be getting re-exposed in your home environment every day. The second step is that if environmental testing confirms that you have mold exposure, consider a urine mycotoxin panel. There are some great labs out there that show not only the mycotoxins, but their metabolites that are present in the urine. Now, they're not perfect, but they do confirm exposure to the toxin themselves. Hydration and timing matter when you're doing these tests, so work with someone who understands how to read these results and make sure that you're set up for success when you do them. Third, and perhaps one of my more favorite pieces of the puzzle, is it's important to know what the mold toxins have done functionally inside the body. This is where I like to bring in organic acids testing to help reveal the fungal or the mold metabolites and also look to see how they're affecting your mitochondria. There's mitochondrial stress markers and detoxification bottlenecks that happen at the cellular level because of mold toxins. So this doesn't just give us clues on whether or not the toxin is present, but also how it's affecting the function of your body. And in some cases, we'll also look at mast cell activation syndrome type markers like DAO, histamine, tryptase, or similar to get a better picture for what's going on at the immune level as well. And I want to highlight a little bit more about this organic acids test, or OAT. This is a test that I love to use both for my maintenance patients about once a year to check to make sure everything's still running well, but also my more chronic complex cases, because this urine test helps to give us insight based on the footprints left behind at the cellular level. It shows us patterns in mitochondrial function, detoxification pathways, and also microbial overgrowth and gut health at the urine level. And important for mold is the fungal metabolites. Again, it's not a mold diagnostic test, but it's one of the tools that I use to read patterns in someone's function. How is the mold affecting the chemistry? Because there's a variety of experiences. If I see elevated markers for mitochondrial dysfunction alongside fungal metabolites, it's important that we address both of these levers, or you only may see partial resolution. This kind of thinking is what gives the roadmap on what to support first, because we're not just going after the toxin itself, we're going after the way that the toxin actually affects the function of the body. And we don't just do this with supplements. The lifestyle foundations are equally important levers to pull when it comes to sending the right signals for immune resilience and strength to combat what could be going on with mold toxicity. So a healthy diet, sleep that's restful, and also nervous system regulation all send signals of safety and healing and repair. So test when you need more data to guide you, and that can be a very simple next step. So the one big takeaway I want you to take away from this video today isn't just about finding mold. It's about understanding how mold exposure affects your energy systems, your detoxification capacity, and also your immune reactivity on a wider scale. Once we remove the exposure to mold toxins and rebuild those systems, that's when the fog can start to lift. It's one of the most validating recovery experiences that I see in clinical practice. Let's go over some quick questions that come up around mold toxicity. First of all, can I detox mold on my own? In general, you can very gently, but if you have more exposure, it's important to make sure that you are doing things in the right order, or it can make things worse and overwhelm detoxification and cellular systems. Generally, I follow the principles of stabilize, then mobilize, bind, and replenish. Second is, do I need genetic testing like for the HLA-DR gene? In some cases, this can be a very important piece of the puzzle. If you haven't heard about this, this is a gene that makes mold toxin exposure that much more complicated in an individual. And the last question I want to bring attention to is, well, what if my partner or my family is fine? And what I have to say to that is biology is so unique to the individual. It rarely affects us equally. Detox capacity, immune sensitivity, nervous system regulation, mitochondrial resilience, all of these factors are formed throughout our lifetime. I always say we are a sum of our lived experiences when it comes to the way we express function to dysfunction. So it's a totally normal situation for one person to be struggling and another to be completely thriving in the same mold-exposed household. Now that you understand how mold can hijack the mitochondria, you may need to know how to rebuild cellular energy from the ground up. If that sounds interesting to you, check out this next video on the exact levers that help to restore mitochondrial function, whether or not mold is part of your story. I'm Dr. Kenny, Root Cause Health Detective. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.